much more sensitive with your
That's the
emotions.
word I was looking for, sensitive.
Yeah, so they people look at, masculinity just borderline. It's borderline toxic. Of course, nobody talks about feminine toxic,
I
being
think
a
they just get,
toxic feminist.
yeah.
But what I'm trying to, get at is being able to keep that manhood, that masculinity, the strength part of being a man, the strong part, showing that you're capable of doing those hard things for your family, and again being strong about it,
Hmm.
and confident. Those things are, it's a thin line between, like I said, being toxic and being, being a man, or having that true masculinity, the, I guess, the correct masculinity, whatever you want to call it. But where, in between all of that line, how do we still maintain those things that make up a man, and uh, uh, still show the softer side of when we do confront a problem, but whether it be with our family or friends, but still have that, soft
Compassion.
side, compassion, and humility. Like,
Yeah.
how can you still be strong? Because it's always looked at as, you know some, a little bit of toxic here, people look at you funny because of public opinions about, masculinity and stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
how do we still maintain that strong characteristic of being a man without, you know I guess, with being more compassionate?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
I think what happens is they get it mixed up where some people are like narcissists, or very chauvinist, let me say, where they, men think they look down on, maybe
Entitled feelings.
women feel, but because at the end of the day, men have a lot of testosterone, right? We have a lot of egos, and that's where a lot of it comes from, our ego and our testosterone. We don't let shit go. We can't be disrespected. Everything is about respect with a man because we're not as emotional as women in that sense. Mothers are, they're bringers of life, they're carers. They've been dealing and caring for children and other people's emotions all their life. So that's what they know. They know to be more compassionate. They're brought up that way. But what are we? We're brought up rough, playing sports, roughhousing, fighting, real,
Right.
you taught to be a man, to be strong, even with the stereotypes or the different
Not double standard, I was just about to
double,
say.
yeah, the double standard. That's what I'm looking for. Double
Oh,
standard. Okay. As a man, we taught when I was younger, the more women you sleep with, you the man, right? Whoever, oh, he done slept with all, he done slept with her, and her. But if a woman does that, she's considered a bad word. Those things like that. So when you grow up thinking like that, what if the girl is just has a sex drive like you and she ain't being satisfied and she trying to
eh,
get satisfied? No, I'm just saying, I'm just taking
yeah.
it, but you can go sleep with, 10 women and get praised for it. But if she sleep with four guys, oh, she's this, she's that. So, when you have those type of ideologies instilled in you, you already looking down on a person based off of some of the same things you doing or even worse. That's why
Right.
they always talk about body count. If you can 9 times out of 10, if you compare a man's body count to a woman's, the man's is going to be higher because we don't have regard for that. As far as women have to be more guarded, they can't be as free as they want because we hold them to a different standard.
Right.
So we have ideology. We don't even have a fair assessment of things because we already think, oh, women are supposed to do this. We're the man. I'm the man in the household. A man, a woman's supposed to cook, clean, and rear the children, right?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
but here's the thing: what if she works? Is she still supposed to cook, clean, and rear the children while your ass just go to work and come home?
nah.
But that's what we think.
Yeah,
We think both of us supposed to go out. See, it's a different day and age,
of
and
course. Yeah.
the perspective of now back in the day when a man went to work and a woman was supposed to take care of the house, that's a different story if she a homemaker. If
And
that's
that's
her responsibility, that's just as big as him going to work. But we still don't look at it like that. We look at we the man, we the head of the household. Since we go to work 8 hours a day and pay all the bills, we run shit, which is not true because while you gone that whole day, that woman took care of that house, that woman cleaned all the clothes, that woman did everything. She worked hard, just as hard or even harder than you sometimes. But we don't give that respect because we already have a mindset that we're dominant over women.
and that whole thing is about communicating what you want to do in your life with your spouse. I think I
Right.
think roles for gender roles in in a marriage, the traditional gender roles just don't work anymore, which is
No.
fine. I like my mom was more of the stay at home mom. Pops worked, but there was a lot of there was a lot of struggle in between or whatever. But
Mhm.
still, the machine ran well because the communication, the goal of the family was set, and how to daily procedures were set between my parents, and managing the household. So yeah, stuff some that might not work right now. I know. Shoot, you need to make your house needs to you need to probably bring home 40. The bare minimum to be comfortable in your house is probably 45,000 in Atlanta to
For
be
the both of you?
well, just in a household, even if it's two people working or just one person working.
No, it's a little. I think it's a little. Well, it just depends where you live
Well,
in.
in Atlanta, yeah, Atlanta, to be comfortable, don't have no car payment and
Right.
make 45 a year, you're just okay. You're
Hmm.
just okay.
Yeah.
So even the point I'm making with a marriage, there got to be some clear cut decisions made.
Everybody need to know their role.
Right. And as far as a man, now this is another question. When it does come to, who does what and how the household is ran, the of course the male is the should be able to lead and come up with uh should be able to lead as they come up with an idea of how to raise a family. But do you do you lose your if you guys are talking about finances, do you lose your manhood, or not manhood, but let's just use that. If the woman makes more than you in the household, do
Hmm.
you does that not make the man a leader? Like what
That only that only
measures?
that only makes the man not a leader if he wasn't a leader in the first place. Because
So even
because money. Listen, I hope mine make more than me. I can't wait till the day she make more than me. Because guess the more she make, the better off I am.
right, of course.
But some, like I say, it's the ego of a man. A man is feels like, oh, and a lot of men use money as a controlling factor.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that don't
saying?
make no sense.
No, they use like, oh, well, because like you say, back in the day, the man used to work, the woman stayed at home. So the man brung in all the money. He controlled everything. So if he don't want to bring the money in, the woman is going to be at a disadvantage if she's been a homemaker all her life and she don't know
Right.
how to go out there and really work and she didn't start in a career. What if she stayed home and watched the kid like Lawanda, right? She
Hmm.
stayed home and watched. She stayed home for 10. That was our agreement. She gonna stay home because I didn't want my kids in daycare. She gonna
Right.
stay home until these kids get old enough to go into school, and then she gonna go back and finish her degree because she had a degree from Jamaica, but in the States sometimes it would have been easier and better for her to go back, get her transcripts from Canada and from Jamaica, come over here, get a degree, than to try and transfer all that over here and go through the process of getting a teaching certification. So, but I didn't want my kids in like daycare where they couldn't talk. I
Yeah.
didn't want nobody. So the agreement was until the kids get older, you stay home, take care of the house. I go to work, pay all the bills.
Yeah, you led as a
But
man.
I never made it seem like it was, oh, I'm because I'm the man of the house. I'm working and your job isn't as important because my kids were happy and that's all that mattered. because I don't, but now that she's working, those roles change. She don't got to do I'm a grown ass man. It wouldn't be right for me to go to work, for her to go to work, and for me to come home and expect her to do every goddamn thing.
Of course, yeah, that's like
But
back to the ego.
that's where it doesn't change. The man still thinks, but because this day and age has changed, there's a lot more women working than these old, than back, in the early 80s, 70s,
Right.
actually is I think they driving the actual workforce now as far as professionals.
So then,
So okay, let me go back to that question and finish answering about the money. Since that's where that money issue came from, where men feel like, oh, if a woman is making more than them, oh, now they have the power. But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't even really, that shouldn't take no way away from your feeling as the head of the household, as a man. Like in my household, yeah, I'm the head of my household, but so is my wife. We compromise. I don't just run shit and what I say goes, and because I may be wrong, and if I don't have a listen to a voice of reason, then we gonna be in trouble.
Right. So now the expectations of what a man should do in his family role, like
It's all, I think it's based on your family's position,
because that
right?
can, women can be just as vile when it comes to, you know,
Big time. It's a lot of women
uh,
that if they make, but on the other spectrum, it's a lot of women when they make more money than a man,
yeah.
they tend to let them know, hey, I'm making this. I don't need you. Da, 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 da. I make this amount of money. This is what I'm making. So, and that may, if your ego is messed up, you may take, you may feel some kind of way about that.
Yep.
So, a man needs to be defined better and more diverse than just someone who gets up, goes to work, and pays the bills and is tough.
So who's responsible of that? Who's responsible of making that official, for
Like
that man's
making,
life?
well, because I think it would have to be the man himself. You have to look at it objectively. Like I
Right.
had to, because everybody's situation different,
Mm-hmm.
but I think as men we need to be more compassionate. The sensitive side, I don't know about the sensitive side. I think more compassion is needed. Because I
I
don't
agree.
really know what's sensitive. See, because when I hear, and it may be just from a man, from how I grew up, and still some of the um things that are instilled in me. But when I hear sensitive, it makes me think soft.
Right.
And a man ain't supposed to be soft.
Right.
We ain't supposed, we're not, and the reason they say they're not supposed to be soft, because they say, like women have a lot of emotions. So if we're soft and emotional, that's going to cause more arguments between you and your spouse. Because
So the word.
if you just as emotional as her, and you going through the changes, because women are biologically go through different kind of mood swings because of their the period and things like that. So they're up and down emotions already. So if you're just as emotionally unstable or moody and all that, that's going to cause a lot of arguments with you and your woman, because as soon as something come up, you're going to argue with her because you just as emotional or just
See
as
now,
sensitive.
but you see, I guess
So
we
it's
kind
it's
of
it's it's, it's weird. Like
we
it's a lot of contradicting factors with being a man too.
right, but you see, I think those ideas can put somebody right back in a box when
Yeah.
you try to be a strong young man. You try to be a strong man for your family,
Mm-hmm.
but if you show a little bit of compassion or humility, it can turn against you with other people. Although it doesn't matter what they
Oh
think,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
still,
definitely.
yeah, it's still we still have this ego we have to deal with. Every man has an ego, and so when a dude is being talked about because he was nice, nice that day, He then turns around and he getting talked about. The ego busts open, and now you got to prove yourself in some way or fashion, and then
Hmm.
that just brings the cycle back. So it's almost like people can people think that not it's not hard being a man. I think women, a lot of women think it's if they could do this job, and I honestly think that no, you
And
can't.
well, I think that's because of how um and I don't know if we just speaking for urban men or a lot of, if in all actuality, if roles were reversed based off of how I grew up and based off of what I was taught a man should be, yeah, hell yeah, it's a lot easier to be a man. I would agree with him, but that's only based off the stereotype of what a man they see on the outside. A man can like this. A man can go anywhere at any time a night. But if a woman goes somewhere anytime a night, it's a different story.
You know what? It's like this. It's like a board game that has easy rules. I think it's what I talked to you about when you were talking about Tunk, the card game the other day.
Yeah.
Game that has easy rule. It's easy to play, but the strategy of how to win is difficult as hell. That's being a man.
And it
It's
changes but it changes all the time. It's being a man, I think, is about your circumstances, but I think the overall um
yeah, I'm gonna
trait we need to learn is more compassion and more understanding. We quick to That's why men quick to get into arguments, because it's all rah rah. Everything is rah rah. Rah
we
rah
don't want to
means
look
it's
embarrassed. We
we
don't
don't
want to
want to
look
be embarrassed,
embarrassed.
and we don't want to look soft. We don't want to look soft. That's why sometimes people can't walk away. That's why sometimes people get shot or bad shit happen over the smallest of things because of pride and ego, and we don't want to look like we're the lesser of of a man. And that's just animal instinct. If you look even in the jungle with lions and the pride, it's all survival of the fittest. That's that's what we look at it at. And I said with the pride with the lion, you see the young lions come, the older lion jumping, he can't even come in his territory because we're very territorial.
Right, and you're right. You're right. We are territorial, and I think that we have to be like that. There's
Yeah, very
because
much
we
so.
don't want nobody in our space. They don't deserve. People don't that we don't know don't automatically deserve to be in our space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think
So
we're just guarded. I know I am. And like I say, it all depends on how you grow up, because some men that grow up that never go through things may not be as, quick to jump down somebody's throat because they don't know the consequences of not jumping down somebody's throat. That's like
right,
somebody punch you in the face, you got to punch him back even if you
yeah,
don't want to fight. Even if you scared, that's not, you got to, or you just going to be getting punched in your face all the time.
and you're gonna get talked about.
Yeah, and you're gonna get talked about. So it's about pride. All men are taught to do is have pride. We're not taught to walk away from confrontations. I've seen, we're not taught to walk away. We're taught, if you walk away, you're gonna get talked about, you're gonna get ridiculed, and and then ain't no woman gonna want you. Cause
See, and
don't no woman want a soft man.
you're right. And a lot of young men do things for girls, and
Mm-hmm.
that's another you know, I guess vertical to touch as far as how to be a man or what manhood is. Um, the of course, white men and black men they have totally different experiences in America and life. When especially when you live in like low income areas because
And there's no man there. A lot. That's what I'm saying. When there is no man there, it's wild wild west. How you don't see like the fruits of someone's labor of working hard or going to work every day, or taking care of their wife, or what it is to be a gentleman, holding doors, opening doors, being a
right.
gentleman, being courteous, being being thankful, saying thank you. We don't, if you ain't no man around, at the end of the day, no woman can teach a man how to be a man. It's just
Of
that
course.
simple.